Got a job at 16 and my first paycheck came in today, but my parents are already asking for money and calling me selfish if I don't help them. I, 16F, just got my first ever paycheck last week, which was really exciting. One of the main reasons I got a job so young was so I could cover some of my own non-essential expenses, since my mother is a stay-at-home mom and I didn't want to be a burden for my father. Before I even got my first paycheck, I budgeted exactly how much I wanted to spend and what I wanted to spend it on, since I didn't want to blow it all. My plan was to save at least half and spend what I didn't save. I'll admit that I did spoil myself a bit. I got some new clothes, a new sewing machine, and I'm gonna get my nails done, but I also gave a portion of my check to the church as per my mother's request. I plan to put the rest of the check in my savings and not touch it. The problem is that my mother is terrible with money, like she blows through $800 in one day doing God knows what. She's also always asking someone in my family for money, like my dad or my siblings, and they usually give it to her, but my sister's rent has gone up and her work hours have been cut, so she doesn't have money to give out like she used to. My brother isn't working because he's only home for the summer, so her asking ability there is useless. My father also has some new expenses to pay, so basically nobody has handouts for her anymore, so that leaves only one person left, and she decided to come to me. Ever since I first received my paycheck, she's been acting kind of weird. Like when I got paid, she wouldn't leave me alone until I told her how much it was, even though I wasn't comfortable sharing that information with anyone. And then she started talking about how in her culture the entirety of a child's first paycheck is given to the parents as an offering and a way to show thanks for raising them. I told her that it's a good thing I wasn't born where she was, so I don't have to do that, and so I thought she would stop there. But then she brought up how it's been so long since she got a pedicure and asked me if I would pay for it. I gave her $30 and she got upset and said it wasn't enough. I told her that I didn't have any more to spare and she said I was being greedy. Eventually I was able to get away from the topic, but later we went grocery shopping together, which she paid for as usual with my brother's EBT card. I got a few snacks and food and my portion came up to like $27, which isn't bad since I share my snacks with my siblings and I cook for them too. But then my mother starts complaining and saying things like, if you're gonna eat all that, then you're gonna have to start paying for it too. It's rude to try and bankrupt your brother. I was upset that she was making comments on my eating habits and also frustrated that she was trying to milk more money out of me, so I just told her to put all my snacks and stuff down and that I didn't need them really anyway. She got even more upset and said I was making a scene and being spoiled, but I just ignored her. The biggest reason I even made this post was because of something that happened when I fell asleep on the couch the other night. I guess I fell asleep with my phone unlocked, and right after I dozed off, I felt someone grab my phone, which was next to my head. I woke up to see my mom and I looked at her all confused and asked her to give me my phone back, and she did, but she forgot to close recently used apps, so when I opened the phone I saw that she had opened my banking app. I don't want to accuse her of anything, but I feel like if I'd woken up any later she probably would have sent herself money or something. The thing about all of this with my mom though is that my father is acting like this too. I usually take showers for around 30 minutes, and this was never a problem before I got a job, but this recent time he literally stormed into the bathroom and told me that if I was gonna be wasting his water then I was gonna have to start pitching in for the water bill. So now I don't shower when he's home to avoid conflicts like this. He also told me to give him $50 to send to his family back home, and I asked if he would pay me back, but he said he shouldn't have to since he's never asked me to pay him back for raising me. I don't know what to think about all of this really. Am I uptight about them? Because they're not wrong that they never asked me to pay them back for raising me, so maybe I do owe it to them. But I also really don't make that much and I think I should be allowed to spend my money how I want to. I'm literally going into my senior year, which is so expensive already, and I don't want to spend all my money in the case of an emergency. I just really want to save, but they're not letting me do that with all of their money asking tactics. Update. Since my last paycheck nothing has gotten better at all. I ended up giving up a total of like $200 to my parents for whatever they wanted, but they still wanted more. Recently I had to pay for my own senior pictures, which was fine but kind of surprising because none of my siblings ever had to do that. Then they started asking me for gas money. I had to go to the library, which is probably a 2-minute drive from my house, and my mother was yelling at me and saying that if I was gonna use her car then I was gonna have to put gas in it. Which would be reasonable except for the fact that they don't make anyone else do that. My 22-year-old brother actually drives their car and my mother gives him money out of my father's paycheck to put gas in it, but he's her favorite child so I guess it makes sense. My father also keeps calling me stingy every single day. There'd be times I'm sitting at our table eating dinner when he comes up to me and says, "My daughter, good at so many things but so stingy." It started getting to me pretty hard, so I would try and explain that I didn't have any more money until I got paid again. Then I got paid yesterday. It was like $500 again. I was trying to hide it. I transferred the money from my bank account to my Cash App so that my father wouldn't see that I had any money, and if they asked then I could play dumb. But today when I got home my parents started interrogating me. They were asking me if I got paid or if I knew how much I was going to get paid. I tried lying to them about it, but then my father literally pulled out a paper copy of my pay stub. My job still mails those out and my parents open all my mail, so unless I'm constantly intercepting the mail, they might always know how much I'm getting paid. My mother was mad at me because last paycheck I paid for her pedicure and now she wants a manicure and her hair done. I tried to tell her I didn't have money, but she refused to believe that and said that if I couldn't give her money, then I couldn't eat the food she worked so hard to make. So I just gave her $80 for her nails because I'm fed up with arguing. My parents are arguing right now because my father is spending significantly more money out of all of his paychecks because of something that my stay-at-home mom committed them to financially, but the thing is that she still expects to be able to keep up with all of her self-maintenance. Long story short, she said that she didn't need his money anyway, and so when I sent her the money for her nails she was bragging to him about how I gave her money and not him. So then my father was upset because he thinks I only sent her money because we're both women. I ended up just giving him $80 to even it out, and I gave them both $30 extra for gas money so they would get off my case. I thought that would be the end of that, but because I got in trouble for lying about getting paid, they think I'm lying because I plan on blowing it all on myself. Now they're calling me names like selfish, stingy, and financially irresponsible. They said they would start limiting my spending of my own money. There's so much more I could say about my parents, but that could probably be 15 different posts. I just wish I didn't feel so trapped.